Once upon a time, there was a dog. Lived a life of terror, feared no one. Although his teeth were sharp and his belly full, his heart was empty. He decided to go on a journey to a land far, far away. But he came upon a wooden shack one day with a thin old man inside, and he invited him in. The dog was overjoyed, and that night warm smoke billowed from the chimney above. Oh, what odd-smelling smoke this was. You see, the land was the Neon Crew podcast, and in the Neon Crew podcast, they eat dogs.
Whoa!
One of the best monologues and introductions to a character in a film I think I have ever witnessed. Walter Sparrow from the number 23. Excellent. Great stuff. Thank you, Joel Schumacher.
Yeah.
I'm really
Thanks,
thankful.
God.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Welcome, everyone, to the 71st episode of the Neon Crew podcast. My name is Kyle.
I'm Mac.
We have quite the show for you today. How you been? You been doing well? Been chasing dreams and living your best life?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that the right answer?
I think so, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. The right answer is however you want to answer. It's up to you.
Boy, I've never had free will before.
Yeah. Free will. There's a lot going on in this movie that has to do with free will and destiny and paranoia. It's quite the pairing of movies.
Yes.
And that they're both Jim Carrey films in which he's paranoid about his environment and the people around him.
Yeah.
So, happened to work out that way, I guess.
It did happen to work out. I wonder if the other one would have been the same way.
So, I wanted to bring that up while we record because I just think it's really funny. So, we were debating about pairing the number 23 with this film Dark Crimes because I thought, they're both opposite of what Jim Carrey usually does. He's usually a comedy actor, but both of these movies, he's kind of a darker, brooding, more dramatic role for him to play. And there's this movie that came out years ago. Let me see if I can pull this up on Letterboxd here. So 2016, I actually remember seeing commercials for this movie.
Dark Crimes?
Yeah. I think I saw it on TV. I actually think I thought it was like a TNT original crime movie or some shit. Like it kind of gave off that quality. I wouldn't be surprised if they play this on TNT regardless. No. Yeah. But do you know what the tagline of this movie is?
I don't know anything about Dark Crimes.
I love the tagline of this so much. It's
I've seen this.
It takes a dark mind to solve a twisted crime. Twisted.
4.6? Ew.
Yeah, it's got a 2.1 on Letterboxd, which is pretty bad. I think that's even lower than the number 23.
This is fun. I've seen this poster before, and I'm with you. I thought this was like a Hallmark.
Yeah.
You know, the poster looks like something that you'd see when they would come out with like a USA movie.
I was going to say, this looks like it belongs on USA or TNT.
Yeah.
Like one of those
I'm with
cable
you,
networks.
TNT works, all that stuff where you they come out with posters for weird reasons, but there's always too much going on in it.
Mm-hmm. The most I remember about it is that he's got like a buzz cut or like a shaved head and a big gray, like kind of silver fox beard going
Mountain
on.
Man beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a detective, and he's trying to solve a crime that's dark.
Yes.
And twisted.
Yeah.
Apparently. So, I don't know. I still think that this movie would be interesting to talk about in the future, maybe.
Sure.
And I think it would have been a good pairing either way for number 23. But I'm glad that we got to watch The Truman Show.
Yes.
And speaking of which, we can kind of get right into it because I don't have anything else really to discuss. Do you want me to save
the PSA, or should I do that now?
So is that PSA for the number 23, or is it for The Truman Show?
No, it's for movies in general. It's a PSA.
We can do it now.
All right.
So you want to say what this is?
So talking with Sam, and we're gonna hopefully when he chimes in here, doesn't go over this, but there are movies that come out in which case relatively new, good or bad. You don't need to reveal the ending of the film. Some movies, maybe not a great twist. Some movies might have spectacular twists. Some movies, whatever it may be, there should be certain guidelines that I do happen to agree with my brother on, that we just want to share. So you guys, when you're thinking about talking with films to people, especially, I mean, we kind of have the format to do it, with leading off, giving warnings and whatnot. But you happen to catch a stranger on the streets, you don't need to just go and tell them the ending of Civil War,
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Does this stem from a very personal experience that he had?
For Sam.
Yeah.
Sam and I happen to agree with this. So when spoiler rules is what we can call them, go get that shirt when it comes out. 1, the movie has been out for less than a month. Describe how it made you feel versus the logistics. Simple enough.
Mm-hmm.
2, if the movie has been out for less than a year, don't ruin any surprises or pleasantries that you enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
Give it to those people that are going to view it for the first time. 3, if 2 people are having a convo about a film you haven't seen and want to, let them know or leave the convo. So that's kind of for you guys out there. If you happen to go into something, you don't have to ruin the conversation.
And it acknowledges a personal level of responsibility of like, okay, these people are having a conversation. I don't want them to end it, but I also don't want the movie ruined for me.
Yes.
So I'm going to take the initiative and walk away.
Yes. Number 4, if you feel the movie is a must-see regardless of age and is a classic, see Rule 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And then 5, if you think it will increase interest of the film or get people out of wasting time on it, spoil away. I am going to disregard number 5. I'm going to say don't do number 5. Regardless of what it is, unless someone gives you the okay to spoil it.
I feel like a lot of these are very personal and up to you. Kind of allows you to follow a general consensus while maintaining your own individual level of responsibility and how you want to approach spoilers and how people talk about them. So like I could see that last rule applying to something like Madam Web, where if I go see the movie, I don't really feel too bad about revealing stuff about it because I inherently think that there's nothing good about that.
It's all subjective. That's why I'm trying to.
But that's the thing.
It's objective.
Yes, it's all subjective, and it's really up to you. It's like a personal responsibility thing mixed with a courtesy type of thing. Because obviously, if I come out of a movie theater and I'm talking about a movie that I literally just saw, I have to be conscious about how I discuss it, and I always do it in a quiet way because I don't want people coming into the theater to hear what I have to say about the ending of a movie that I liked.
Yeah.
Because, it would suck if I were in that position and I was going to go see Civil War and then someone coming out said something that was a spoiler. Like, that would not be fun.
No.
I'd be like, well, cool. I'm about to go see this movie, but I know how it ends now. And, general good rules. I approve.
I think I
like it.
If you guys can you should try to abide by those, whether or not you're spoiling away or trying to avoid spoilers. It's just something that he has an experience that he'll probably talk about that made him think of these.
Yeah.
I tend to try to stay away from giving anything away.
Same.
And I also, I have personal responsibility where if I hear people talk about it, I just walk away.
Yeah. I will, if I want to discuss a movie with someone and maybe they haven't seen it, but I want to tell them about something, especially if it's a bad film, I'll ask them, do you want me to tell you what happens? And then if they say yes, I'll tell them. But if they say no, I'll respect it. And then I'll just leave it there. And there's also something to be said, too, about, and this is like just for my own personal experience, coming across spoilers online, because not only do you have to worry
about that.
Right, but not only do you have to worry about like potentially people telling you something in person, but maybe you're scrolling through YouTube and you see a thumbnail of a TV show that you're watching because, you've looked up clips from previous episodes. You're like, I want to relive this moment. And then you come across one for an episode you haven't seen yet, and the title gives it away, and the image is a massive spoiler.
Oh.
It's like,
damn.
This fucking sucks. And I feel like it's one of the most common ways to get something spoiled for you, at least to me. I don't know about you.
I don't web surf movies and TV shows. Like I generally, perhaps genuinely, stay away from that, just because I don't trust people and I don't trust the web.
That's a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, like
You're wise to do so.
I'm like, boy, that was weird.
Mac, are you okay? I think a ghost just crawled out of your mouth.
I just swallowed my tonsil.
Oh.
Yeah, I personal responsibility that we talk about, especially when two people are talking. I view it the same way as being on the web, that there are two people talking, and if I know that there's a good chance that something's going to be ruined for me, I just get out. I think there's been a couple times with movies that I've been intrigued by that I don't know much about that we're going to watch. I've gone to see some like reviews, and some of the times like I'll get 2 words into it and be like, nope, just cut myself off, scroll over and get out, because I don't want to. I try to be as fresh as I can, especially if it's something I haven't seen.
Yeah, same. I treat it like it's a computer virus where I just exit out of the bitch, and
yeah.
I try not to. I try to scrub my memory from it. Like if I come across a spoiler for something that I really want to check out, I'll do my best to think about something else so that maybe my mind will forget about the thing that I saw.
Yep.
Which I feel like in turn makes it more memorable because I'm trying to forget about it. If that makes sense.
No, it does.
It's like the Streisand effect, but just completely subconscious.
Don't know what that is, but I agree.
It's when it's named after that because Barbra Streisand, I think, tried to censor something that someone else was saying about her, and because she was trying to hide it, more people were interested in seeing what that thing was.
Oh yeah.
So essentially, the more you try to hide something, the more people try to dig for it. Hence the Streisand effect.
I was thinking more of like an association of I'm not gonna think about this, I'm gonna think about that. But like, let's say you're like, I'm gonna go eat cereal to forget about this. Now every time you eat cereal, you're gonna go, oh yeah, I was trying to forget this.
Yeah. Basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Mind association. Was that all that Sam had to offer for his?
That's it. That's all. We wanted to get that out there just as a general rule of thumb. Not necessarily anything you have to abide by, but if you're talking about it, just be conscious of what you're doing. Or get a public format like this and spoil away.
Yeah. We're pretty free here on the Neon Crew podcast.
Yes.
And speaking of free, there is some themes of freedom being touched on in The Truman Show.
Sick.
Yeah. Were you wondering which one I was going to go with first?
No, I knew you were going with The Truman Show. I'm just wondering what one I get to read off. I'm assuming The Truman Show because you did number 23.
That's right.
Okay. Sweet. So let's talk about it. The Truman Show, created in moving picture in 1998, starring.
It's a talkie.
Yeah, one of those fun things that you see with all the bright colors and the people moving their mouths. Mm-hmm. Starring Jim Carrey. Well, first off, directed by Peter Weir, written by Andrew Niccol.
Andrew Niccol.
All right, starring Jim Carrey as Truman Burbank. Ed Harris as Christoph, the fabulous Laura Linney as Meryl or Hannah Gill, Noah Emmerich. Oh, Emmerich. I wonder if he is any relation
to who else?
Roland Emmerich.
Oh, I'll look into it.
Okay,
but you keep reading.
Anyways, so those are kind of like the main characters of this thing, and the premise of the movie is that we have a spoilers for The Truman Show too, so you guys can exit out if you haven't seen it. I would recommend watching it. A young man, I think he's 29 now, I think, going on his 30th birthday.
I think he's turning 30.
Yeah, and he starts to get a little paranoid with the world around him, starting to notice things happen, creep up. His actions necessarily aren't being reflected in like what you deem a normal society as something to be observed. And really just, we kind of kick off a little like after watching it this time, I wish they would have opened up the way they opened up. But we kind of just follow Truman and his quest for discovering free will.
Yeah, that's pretty aptly put. From what I could tell, Noah Emmerich is not related to Roland Emmerich.
Man, son of a bitch.
He's got 2 brothers, and neither of them are named Roland. It's like Adam and then something else, like Eric or some shit.
Okay.
Yeah, this was
biblical. What's another Cain? Was it Cain Emmerich? You have Noah. You have Adam. Adam and Eve. Kyle.
Cain,
does that ring a bell?
Abel.
Oh, Cain. Yeah, Abel. Maybe it was Abel Emmerich.
Maybe Abel Emmerich. That's a pretty dope name. I would want that name.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So this is the movie that we paired with the number 23. I keep wanting to say Dark Crimes, even though I know that's not the movie we're discussing.
Just leave it. Just let it go.
Well, the more I don't think about it, the more I do think about it. It's that fallacy we were talking about before.
Damn it, Kyle.
I know.
Now you're going to be talking about the number 23.
I know. I'm going to be peeling the wallpaper off of my house.
We're not there yet. Hold on.
Yeah. I'm not itching my neck just yet. So this was the movie we paired, and I've seen this movie before. Mm-hmm. I mentioned it off mic, but this was probably my third or fourth time watching this thing. And it's one of those movies where my previous experience before actually watching the entire thing was commercials on TBS.
Oh, no.
And it framed it very much as sort of a straightforward standard Jim Carrey comedy, where it only showed the bits where he's acting strange and silly and everybody is looking at him funny. He's like kind of just being his wacky Jim Carrey self. And so for a while before I watched this thing, that's kind of what my perception of it was. It's like, oh, it's like Liar Liar. It's like Yes Man, or it's like whatever other Jim Carrey comedy.
Ace Ventura.
Yeah, You, Me, Myself, and Irene, or like something like that. And then I don't remember when the first time I watched this thing was, but the idea of it being a more serious Jim Carrey movie intrigued me, especially comparing it to the advertisements that I saw. Mm-hmm. And checking this movie out finally, it really does not only manage to make the dramatic parts of Jim Carrey work well with the comedic parts of him. He's fairly reserved in this movie, but he's still doing some wacky shenanigans.
He does.
But not only does it do that, but at the same time, it has so much going on in terms of like the detail that they put in. Every single scene has something to offer in terms of like either something hidden or like a meaning for you to think about, or like some expansion on the world he lives in and the world that was created for him.
Yeah.
And this movie, upon rewatching it, I think my opinion of it has just gotten better as time has gone on.
Thank God.
So yeah, I don't know. That's my experience with it. I wanna know what your perspective is.
This is a PMC. One of the movies that Sam actually so this came out in '98. We actually rented it from shout out Blockbuster.
Family Video's better, but sure.
Oh, okay. Episode 72.
I'm reigniting the rivalry.
Kyle and Mac argue for 2 hours. And I think it might be when I do that.
Oh, the little fart noises?
Yeah.
It's all good.
So we watched this at a very young age, and it was kind of like this is a very easy like family movie I think that you could watch.
I think it's rated PG.
Yeah, and there's nothing really too crazy going on, but it's one of the things where I haven't watched it this time where I'm like, man, this is a very philosophical film. There's a lot of deep themes that get touched on and not necessarily explored, but kind of brought up for however you want to take it in as an audience member. I could see this thing being discussed in like film classes, and I know that from some of the trivia I read, there's actually some classes that like center on this, whether it be psychology or some of the, I think a split personality or schizophrenia people. Like I've seen some things where people kind of get delusional thinking they're on camera.
Yeah. I think it's coined like the Truman Show fallacy or something like that.
Yeah,
or like the Truman Show delusion.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, like you could watch it as a 8-9-year-old and get enjoyment out of it. Maybe not necessarily follow what's going on. It's kind of simple in the plot premise of what he's seeking out to achieve. So I had seen it, and Sam ended up getting a hold of this thing, 10 years ago, where he rewatched it, and all of a sudden, he's just, how many, he just texts me left and right about how great this thing is. And I've always been partial to it.
Yeah. Like you gravitate more towards liking it. Yeah.
Yes. And, after watching it this time and actually seeing some of the depths that it has, this film is like really well made. And it's got some really good writing, and I think Jim Carrey, it knocks it out of the ballpark.
I think it's perfect casting. I think this movie doesn't work if you have an actor who can't capture the wacky, sort of unhinged energy of Jim Carrey, while still being able to play it comedically enough to where like he doesn't look just like a crazy person.
Well, you got to create a fish out of water with a fish that's not necessarily out of water. You know, it's kind of hard to isolate moments where someone's got to hold the whole screen while everyone else is just acting normal, you know? And I think that's why he was a perfect spot for this thing, because not a lot of people have that flexibility of being able to play, you know, the straight man versus everyone else being the odd man out, because in that reality, he's the odd man out and everyone else is playing the straight man.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of hard to get that contrast going with some of the acting going on, but he does it he doesn't turn it up to a 10, which I also appreciated.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
it's one of those things where like I noticed, especially this time around, that, and this is probably like one of the biggest takeaways I had with this viewing, is that Jim Carrey in this movie, it feels like, because like the whole movie is framed of like, oh, he's playing Truman Burbank. He's just like your average guy. He has a job. He has a wife. He has a house. And he doesn't know that he's in a reality TV show. But we like watching him because it's comforting. He's reliable. He's like a normal dude that we can just follow and attach ourselves to.
This thing is very like, it's like Sims created.
Right.
You know, it's a very easy, it goes down smoothly. There isn't too much tension that's ever lingering or going on, or you don't have to necessarily face a lot of the real world problems that you get in Shame. You know, this thing is some of the stuff that you see it's on a scale of 1 to 10, a 2 that he's seeing, but a lot of it's internal.
Right. But with that being said, there's also this idea that Truman isn't necessarily the most normal guy to focus this whole show on.
True.
Like the idea of him growing up in this environment where he really can't leave the town he's in because, you know, it's a big old dome that's over the entire thing. They call it like an island or something. It's like, do you remember the name of the location? Sea Haven Island.
Yeah, I think that's what they...
And they just have it closed off. So like his environment growing up is just very unusual for any normal human being because everybody else in that environment is an actor. Essentially, when they're around him in the town, they're performing their job. You assume that outside of that job, they lead a normal life or they do something in order to disassociate from it. But because this is Truman's life, he's grown up in an environment that is so unusual. So therefore, he's kind of become a little unusual in his upbringing. He behaves in a way that is a little bit kind of quirky, kind of silly. And the biggest indication of that I got was towards the end when he's drawing the space suit with the soap in the mirror and he's making the like noises.
Yeah.
And he's like, Truman Burbank, come in. And the guys watching the monitor are just kind of chuckling to themselves. And one of them says like, there's Truman back to his old self again.
Yeah.
And like, you really get the sense from that like one phrase that this guy is always just a little loopy. Like he's always just like a little silly and kind of quirky and just inherently interesting to watch. Because if this was a show about like someone completely normal and mundane and just like a rice cake of a person, then nobody would really watch the show the way that the people in this movie do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a little like I yes, I agree. I was also thinking too of like if you took someone that was like a rice cake and put them in like a really filthy, awful area, I think that would be interesting too. But like I kind of both touching on fish, a little fish out of water, you know, and he is a normal individual. I mean, like truly, it is remarkable to watch him, but I think I feel anyone kind of in that sort of realm would probably develop the way he developed because everyone else is so baseline. Yeah. You know, like they are not humans essentially. They are people acting as humans. Yeah. You know? So like you're going to have your kind of like the, you know, your whatever they do to measure earthquakes. the Richter scale.
Yeah, Richter scale.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna have that behavior from him versus everyone else being baseline, because that's really what draws you into the character as well. Seeing the different personalities and behaviors that he's going to have versus the counterparts of just being bland as shit, because they are all being paid to do one function of their life and act within, like they're all one trick ponies.
Yeah.
You know, like you're going to be the weird neighbor with the dog. Like that's all you're going to do every time. You're going to be that person. So like you have the normal interaction, and then you have the one where he kind of goes up on the Richter scale a little bit, and it's going to be that much more contrasting versus, you know, for the audience.
Yeah.
But Jim Carrey, like I think we're both saying though, really feels like one of the only people that could pull that off.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like you have to be able to, like, you know, the white wall, you have to be able to get a little bit of the shadow going on there to see the different moves of it.
Absolutely. And I think that the casting is genius also because you kind of need that sort of restless energy to convey the fact that this guy has lived in the same place his whole life. So it makes sense that he wants to explore other places. Like even when he's a child, he's like trying to get over the rock, and they're like, no, Truman, come back. And he's like, what's over there? And he's like, nothing. You're gonna hurt yourself, Truman. Come down. And there's like fucking construction and shit happening. They're like building the set for him to live in. Probably like the high school he's gonna go to later. But like,
dude, yes,
the idea of like him growing up in this environment and him being as like quirky and loopy and silly as he is makes sense when you think about just how restless he is in that environment and how he wants to go to different places, amplified when he meets Sylvia and she sort of like tells him all this different stuff, and it like kind of resonates with him, but he's still unsure because it's like completely unusual what she's telling him in that moment. She's like one of the only people who's ever really like real with him the entire time before he leaves at the end. Spoiler alert. But we gave a warning at the beginning, so we're fine. We did. But yeah, no, he plays it well. This is a long form way of saying that I don't think you could have gotten away with any of this with a different actor in his place. No,
especially at the time. In 1998, comedy was in a little bit of a weird spell. SNL was kind of hitting into like, you know, mainstream media. I mean, I know that they were there in the 80s, and you take Sandler or Farley or who's the gentleman that was killed by his wife? Oh,
Phil Hartman.
He might have been able to play in that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I could maybe see that. Yeah.
Yeah, because he has
Phil Hartman would have been a little more grounded, I think, than Carrey.
Agreed, but his zany moments, I think, would have struck a little bit. Not necessarily harder, but just the same.
Right. It'd be a little unexpected, maybe.
Yeah.
Because you're not used to seeing it quite as much from Phil Hartman as you are from Jim Carrey.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny, too. Like in this thing, if you think about it's a little bit of a role. I mean, it is a role reversal for Carrey, but as an audience member going to see a Jim Carrey film, you're always on the edge of your seat waiting for him to do his weird stuff. And in this thing, he's very grounded compared to what we see from Carrey, especially from the time. You know, so I can only imagine going in there to watch him expecting The Mask, you know, and he's like, in case I don't see it, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, you know, and it's just like, who is this guy? And then he has his outbursts, and I think that probably made it a little bit funnier too, because you're building up with tension of like, all right, when's the next laugh coming? Right. You know?
And then sometimes you don't laugh, you just cry in a rainstorm that's isolated specifically for you. So on Wikipedia's got some interesting shit. I guess Robin Williams was considered for the role, which I can kind of see. I feel like
he's another one that could. He doesn't like. Have you ever seen Good Will Hunting?
Yes.
Yeah.
He would have brought a level of sadness to it that I think maybe would have been a little more obvious.
Dude, imagine him on the boat.
Right, exactly. That would have been even more heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
If it were Robin. Like, he would have been able to really pull that off. Not that Jim Carrey does a bad job, but man, Robin Williams could have sold that.
Yeah, I also think, though, that some of it might have felt too zany. I could see him definitely going over the top, not being able to dial it in.
Right, like a little less restricted.
Yeah.
Could have been a little too hammy.
Yeah.
I guess Gary Oldman did a test screening for the role. That would have been wild.
No. I love Oldman, but no.
Sometimes, because like I generally love Gary Oldman. Like I think he's one of the best actors.
Agreed.
In like a myriad of great roles in films. I feel like he would have been distracting in this movie.
Oh, God,
which is saying a lot considering Jim Carrey is playing this character.
Dude, the whole thing is like it's a freaking, butter stack on a flapjack. Like this, there's no tension in this whatsoever. And then when it finally gets to the moment, it totally feels rewarding, but at the same time, it feels very tensiony. Mm-hmm. Where Oldman the whole time going through this, you'd be like, it'd be sitting there the whole time.
Yeah, I feel like he would have been too serious about it.
Yes.
Like I can't picture Gary Oldman playing silly the way Jim Carrey does.
No, imagine
innocent silliness.
Imagine when he gets to Imagine like when he gets to, he's finally going to break out and he does the whole sleeping gimmick. At that point, like if it's Oldman, like you already know what's happening. In this film, I can never remember when they lose him. Mm-hmm. Like, and I think that's a testament to how well Carey plays it, because you never feel like once he gets to that point of like I'm doing it, he doesn't express it. He just goes on his day as normal, and it tricks me every freaking time.
Yeah, it's good. I love it. You mentioned earlier about them revealing that it's a TV show at the beginning.
Yeah, I hate
and
it.
Sort of like reconciling with that. Yeah, it's one of those where like I can't say whether or not I hate it, but it is one of those things where it does make me wonder how effective it would have been at the reveal. Like, because you really don't get back to Kristoff until like over halfway through the movie.
Beginning of the third act.
Yeah.
That's what I penciled in.
So the whole time I'm watching it, I'm thinking like, okay, I know they're going to cut back to Kristoff, but I feel like it's got to happen soon, right? And then like 20 more minutes would pass and it'd be like, we're still with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Like this long.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think I lean more towards agreeing with you that it probably would have been way more effective if it didn't have that one moment of interview at the beginning with Kristoff.
You know how much mystery
revealing it's a show
would be going on in your head if it just leads off with Carey doing the thing in the mirror. And it's like, okay, we're with him. And then it's just going on. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
Right.
And then all of a sudden the director pops up and then they do the interview and it's like, holy shit. You know, I even had that kind of moment and I knew that it was still on there. And I was like, that's why I came back to it, because I was thinking, man, this would have been so much more effective if they would have teased more of the mystery going on with it. And
do you think it would have still worked? So let's say they take out the Kristoff scene at the beginning, where like you find out right away it's a TV show. Would it still work then if it still intercut between the scenes of Truman just going about his life and then people giving interviews about it being a show but like not necessarily saying it? Because like at one point it cuts to the cops when him and Laura Linney go to bed. And she's like, why don't we go to bed? You know, they start to kiss or whatever. And then it cuts to the cops and one of them's like, they don't show anything. They just turn the camera and that's it.
How mind-blowing. You would, if you were watching that, it's like, okay, is this a TV show? Is this, how are they watching him?
Right.
It's literally panning. It would be, as an audience member seeing that for the first time, it'd be panning to us. Mm-hmm. And a guy that I could be sitting next to being like, they don't show anything.
Right.
And then it goes back into
sort of like answering the questions that you were going to have a second later, you know?
Yeah. And you sit there and you watch it and you go, well, why'd they show him? Where are we at? What's he doing? Mm-hmm. It adds more to the mystery of what's going on.
Right. Makes it a little more confusing while still like, okay, I got like a little piece of the puzzle here.
And if you think about everything that they lead off to with like the stuff with Sylvia kind of going in and saying all that to him. And
I'm not allowed to talk to you.
Yeah. Like then you're thinking, all right, is this guy like a dictator, or you know, like it would really have funneled more into the mystery of what we're seeing and play into. I mean, I think that there's sci-fi elements in here.
Why is that? Why is everyone acting so weird? Why is this like overly happy? Why can't he leave the island?
Yeah. Yeah, the island. Mm-hmm. Like they're like, are these clones? Is he the, you know, what role does he have in this whole universe that's being painted that apparently we're not even in? Mm-hmm. You know, like, but people are seeing what he's doing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of time. I mean, there's other movies out there that paint this picture of kind of free will, nature, nurture. I mean, just growing up, all the things of being a human, and put it into the realm of what if we did this or what if we did that. And this one really, I think, would have been It's still really effective, but I think what they do at the beginning as an audience member doesn't confuse you, and that's why it seems so innocent and silly. And that's why I'm saying, like, you know, a butter stack on flapjacks, because the tension never really mounts. But you do get involved with what you're rooting for with Truman as a character. So, like, there is some way to, you know, weight that
you're still invested in everything going on, and there's still enough there to make you wonder where it's going to go. It's not like it's completely showing its whole hand.
The question that I would have, so we know at the beginning that it's a show, right? And so when Truman starts to make that journey and he's climbing the mountains and we know that he's getting closer to his end goal, is it more effective because we know what's going on? Or would it have been more effective had we, like, I feel like it would have been, well, I'll say this and then I'll give my opinion. If we would have found the director and then all of a sudden we know that he's in the show and we know he's trying to escape, I kind of, in my opinion, or you go and then I'll...
No, I was just going to kind of build off that and say, I think there's enough there for us to come to the conclusion that there's something going on. He's being surveilled in some way.
Yeah.
His life is kind of being controlled around him and his routine.
Yeah.
And he's almost being, whether directly or indirectly, forced to stay in one place for some reason.
Yeah.
And then when it reveals that it's a TV show and it cuts to Christoph and like the whole interview and stuff, like, it all makes sense to us and our suspicions are pretty much confirmed.
Now, the question is, because after that, I mean, it's about another 20 minutes and the movie ends. Is it too much, or did we have to be led into all of this to kind of get that mounting, value of rooting for him versus we're just going to pile it onto you as soon as we show the director?
Can you like rephrase that?
So there's two versions of it. One is the one that we got.
Yes.
Okay. So as we're being led through it, we know what's going on. So there's a mounting. I'm trying to think, like, value that we have in terms of him meeting his goal and where we want him to go. Because in all of our heads, at some point it transitioned to, you got to get off the island, right? Whereas in the other one, if they take out the intro, if they take out that thing with Christoph and the director and we just see it for what it is, and then we see that he's being controlled and manipulated, is that too much at once? Because I like both.
I don't know if it'd be too much. I would say that it would be an argument in support of revealing the hand that it's the TV show at the beginning, because then throughout the entirety of the movie, we have this thought of, is this guy going to get away eventually?
That's what I'm saying. And that's kind of maybe why you put the TV show at the beginning, because that way...
and that would be a sound argument for supporting it.
Yeah, it's a slow build up to eventually where you're going to be at. I think both sides get to it, but I think in my case, if I did take that thing out, it would be much more of a mystery. But then the reward at the end feels too thrust on us. It'd probably be too quick of
like you're
ending.
Throwing too much at the audience at once.
Yeah, all of a sudden it turns like we kind of want him to get up, but we're still not sure of where he's at. And then all of a sudden you see he's being controlled. It's like, oh shit. And then now he's on the getaway. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
Versus a little bit more discovery of who's going on with. Whereas in this case, they lead you into it a little bit, and it's a very effective villain.
Oh, super effective.
Right?
And the best kind of villain is one that doesn't even think he's a villain. And that's something that is so true with this character and like played really well by Ed Harris.
Phenomenal.
I think it's great. And the idea of him being like this control freak director guy, like he's dressed like how a little kid would think of a movie director dressing.
Yeah.
He's got like the like French like cap on with like the black sweat. It almost looks like he's kind of dressed like Steve Jobs in a way.
Kind of. I mean, he's got like the loose black sweats on too, or whatever those things are. Like he's swanky and artistic.
Yeah, he's got like the glasses. He's very well spoken, but like mild mannered. But you get the sense that like you don't want to piss this guy off.
Every thought that he has is controlled, and the way he's going to deliver it is in a manner of which he's already thought about the next chess move. So he's already kind of like, all right, this is going to be my, like, almost robotic. Like you'd think that it'd be more artistic or like insightful,
but it's very technical. It almost kind of reads like it's sort of like a James Cameron-esque director.
Yeah,
where like there's an artistic vision there, but at the same time, a lot of what's being pushed forward is the idea of like the technical limitations and like how far they can reach and how far they've built from like where they started. Because I think it's very pertinent, the fact that they talk about how many cameras are on the island and like the weather system and like building the dome and like expanding upon it. Like it almost feels very James Cameron-esque the way they portray him as like the director of everything going on.
The metaphor you use is God, right? Like he's set up this whole community, and you get to I love that they don't have to get into too much shit with him. There's just enough being fed to you that you understand that any possible question that you could ask this dude at any point about anything happening, it's day one, it's 10,103 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah.
He probably could tell you on day 8,752 what was going on, what Truman did, where they were at with their shots, what messed up. Like you just feel that he has total control over this island and over not necessarily what Truman's doing, but to create the behaviors that he wants from Truman.
Well, like, do they mention in the movie that he's never really left the dome? Pretty much, like he's always there.
Yeah, they created. They had to create a traumatic experience. Dude, I fucking love this thing too because they also. You can see how they're like thinking ahead of like, all right, he's going to develop some thoughts about wanting to do this and that. How do we tame that? So like we had to kill the dad in the water. So you have a fear of water. It's like genius. And then he keeps trying to get away at certain intervals. And like one of the times he says, I want to explore. I want to be an explorer. And the teacher goes, well, you're already too late for that. Everything's been found. Yeah. And it's like every time that they had to quelch his thirst for whatever that he wanted to do.
Yeah, stopping him with like an angry dog as he tries to like walk down the boardwalk.
Yeah, and he's all fearful anyways because there's water right to his left. He's just thinking about his dad and he's seeing this dog and he's looking and he's scared shitless. It's like, but and that it really just simple moments like that let you as an audience member too expand into what else they could have done, which I love because it's not necessarily a filled canvas for what's going on in this universe. And there's so much time interwoven with what he's kind of happened that you can craft your own, like, when he was in 5th grade, this probably happened.
Yeah. It gives you answers to things while not sacrificing the interest that you have in figuring out, like, how things operate and how things work. Because, like, there's still plenty of mystery to chew on. There's still questions that you probably have that the movie doesn't outright answer, but you can kind of speculate on.
Yep.
I like the idea, and this is something that I just kind of thought of, the parallel of Christoph essentially almost forcing himself to stay in one location to look after someone who is forced to stay in one location. Like they're both sort of, I don't want to say cursed, but there's like a parallel there of like them basically relying, whether one of them knows it or not, on each other to live the life that they've been living for the past 30 years or so.
It's like I said, this movie's very philosophical because I think there's and not to like just throw this one out there, but I do think that there's like free will or choices. They both, one is choosing to be there while one is not choosing to be there. He's forced, but you could ultimately say they're both forced to be there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this feels like a parallel to like the Bible. You got God and his son Jesus, right? And,
absolutely.
And how all that plays out,
especially towards the end with the booming voice over the sky.
Yeah, it's
like Truman.
But there's also like you talk about with and I don't know the Bible too well. Don't shame me.
I might be able to help.
With now you're contradicting it with free will or choices or what do as humans is it fate, destiny, what gets us to our point in life and what is ultimately laid out before us that we have to go down this path versus when can we choose the fork in the road.
Well, not only that, but the idea of Christoph being basically God to Truman, keeping him safe from the quote dangers of the world.
You get to see it all here, Truman. It's just you're protected,
right? And like you buy that he truly believes what he's saying, and that like he thinks that he's protecting Truman in his best interest, and that like he's giving him a good life
compared he's an animal to like in a zoo,
right? It's like you're well fed, you're technically healthy, and you're gonna live as long as your health dictates, but you're not gonna be able to really go anywhere because while I'm going to say that I care about you and that I'm protecting you, I'm also making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
And we're getting so many views from this. And a lot of the idea of like him protecting Truman and caring about Truman in a way that feels very paternal, a lot of that does kind of get thrown out the window when the idea of him escaping is on the line and like everyone's watching and like the ratings are going up and he's like, oh, you're going to kill him on TV? He was born on TV, wasn't he? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just a very fascinating idea of like, whenever something doesn't go quite right, this angry, vindictive God resorts to the most violent, drastic measures.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about that really resonates.
There's a lot of things in here that, I mean, there's so many different things pop up. I mean, you could even talk about mental health and psychology and nature versus nurture in this.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I mean, there's so like you've got the nurturing aspect of this whole crafted community and the nature part of being a human being and discovering cues and behaviors on your own. I mean, like, honestly, he had to do some of that stuff because if he followed the actors, he'd be a rice cake. Mm-hmm. You know? Yeah, there's so much to chew on with this thing, and for it being an hour and 40, it's remarkable that, and it's such like a simple premise.
Very simple, and it doesn't feel like it's taking on too much. And there's like another thing to be said too with like the way that the acting is portrayed in this movie, like the way that the actors as characters are playing this part in Truman's life, and how. I was talking to a coworker about this today because like he's a huge fan of The Truman Show. It's one of his favorite movies. And I was saying how like it made me think about, especially this viewing, about the idea of these actors spending their entire lives with Truman. And like basically Laura Linney is his wife. Like she might as well basically be his wife because like she's with him the whole time. Like they're always like there. She talks about having a kid with him, like they've like spent all this time together, and the idea that like there's got to be something there emotionally that connects you to this guy that makes you genuinely care about him just by proxy of being around him for so long and like getting to know him and like growing up with him and like being in this relationship with him for so long. And then you get the scene where she gets cornered and pulls out the knives that she like so nicely sponsors in the camera. They
weren't knives; they were the peelers.
Oh, sorry, doesn't peel potatoes quite like anything else. You see that moment, and she cries, but it's a cry of selfishness. Of I can't work under these conditions. Like at the end of the day, she's still an actress. Like she's just playing a part. It's just a very elongated, high production part. You know, like there's nothing genuine there of like her feeling anything towards Truman, or even like his friend played by Noah Emmerich feeling anything towards Truman. I think one thing I thought was something in this movie that I kind of expected that I didn't get, and I was surprised to not get, was for some reason I had this thought of Noah Emmerich helping Truman out in some way. Like maybe he helped him escape, or like maybe he like, you know, didn't tell Christoph something that he should have.
The gravy train.
But then I watched the movie and I'm like, oh no, he didn't do any of that. He would have dragged Truman back by the nails on his fingers if he had to.
Some of the extras in this thing, it's really funny because like some of them have big roles, you know, but it's like any other film that you make or any TV show that you make, you got the extras. They throw. The cops deliver him back to the house after the fire. And one cop is like explaining the situation best he can. And the other guy's looking at him wide-eyed in fascination because he's like, I'm on the show right now, and that's Truman. And you kind of like, these actors are so pompous with what they're doing. They feel like they have this like self-righteous light on them of like, we're doing the best we can to make him live this normal life, but it's not normal, you know? But they're also like, I get paid to do this. And one of the funny trivia things that I read on was when what was Noah Emmerich's
his character name?
Yeah.
Lewis Coltrane playing Marlin.
Marlin, when they get on the bridge and the dad comes back and they got the sweeping fog, and that's when Christoph comes back in. It's such a great scene too, because now you get to see Christoph as the dad, you know. And Marlon, and he goes, remember when you went on vacation, you got pneumonia, and you had it for a month when you came back?
Yeah.
The funny thing I read on trivia, that it kind of just goes brush, is like, as an actor, he probably had paid vacation.
Yeah.
And he probably did take off.
He probably just took a month off and they told him it was pneumonia.
Yeah. Well, he could have got it from wherever he went on vacation, like, and like when he goes, you also did the stint with the Kaiser chickens, because you have to leave the show at points, and
you can't just be there the whole time,
The funny thing, someone did like a deep dive on how old Truman was and the dates and times, and they found out that they fudged the calendar dates in the show versus what was happening in real life, because you have your 5 paid holidays and whatnot, so they couldn't probably run it. Or like, you get Christmas specials that pop up that you're just having whoever produce it, because like those production people have to go on. So they found out they shorted them by like a day and a third of an hour or whatever. And so like they were actually off in the show. They were really like in real time, behind by like a year and a couple months.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because like you're thinking about the whole time, you actually are invested that you're in this real world, and then you kind of forget, oh no, these people have jobs.
I also love, like, not to get off of Marlon too quick, but I love how every time he shows up, he's got a fucking 6-pack.
Yeah, we're gonna get him drunk, he'll fall asleep.
Well, that, and it's like every time he drinks from it, the label's facing the camera.
Oh yeah, everything in this thing. I love how they did the product placement in this stuff.
Yeah, the old twin guys coming up to him like, how you doing, Truman?
Yeah.
Like, they push him against it to get a better view.
I was thinking, like, when Marlon shows up to the house, they're like, get Marlon over there, and I was like, how does he play this off with Truman being the way he is?
He just rushes in. He's holding a 6-pack. Truman, I got some cold brewskis with our name on it. He's like panicking, basically.
I'm like, how would he play that off?
Yeah, what would have happened if, was that thunder?
Yeah. Little bit of lightning.
Damn, I wonder if the recording picked that up. Yeah, I wonder what would have happened if Truman had actually been there, and he's like, he sees Noah Emmerich in like this panic with like sweat down his forehead, and he's got like the fucking 6-pack in his hand. He's like, God damn, fuck it, what the hell? What the hell is wrong with you?
Dude, I'm sleeping, asshole. My life just... Dude, also, it's crazy. This happens over either 4 or 12 days, and in that time, he, reunites with his dad, gets divorced, gets a new, like, a promotion at his job, and also has like a mental breakdown.
Right.
I wish that they would have kind of spanned a little bit more, but
I kind of like the fact that this movie starts with him already suspicious of his surroundings. Like, it's not, because like, I think the movie opens and he's like going to his job, and when he's at his job, he makes a call and sees if someone named Sylvia has like left a message for him.
The Sirius can, which is another great piece of trivia too. So the Sirius can lighting falls down. It's like Sirius can 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
Sirius.
Basically a big old production light falls from the sky.
What it was denoting was one of the stars, one of the brighter stars in the night sky. So that was like that actual star fell out of the sky, and that's when he kind of is like, what the hell, And then you kind of see that, he's trying to find Sylvia, and he doesn't know how to get connected with her.
Right.
And you can kind of tell that he's got some things that he's picking up on a little bit, and remembers faintly of the high school memories, and her kind of doing some weird things that you wouldn't expect a kid to do, a high schooler to do.
Yeah, for sure. So I recognized Sylvia, played by Natasha McClain.
Okay.
McClain. And so I clicked on her, and she plays Dr. Halsey on the Halo TV show. That's where I recognized her from.
Oh, God.
I know. I was like, oh, Jesus. She still looks great, though, by the way. I mean, good for her. She's 54.
Show, I think they hired her for this because of her eyes.
She has such big eyes.
I'm like, I was trying to think why, how did she get this gig? Because I haven't seen her in a whole lot of stuff. I was like, oh, it's those eyes, because when he gets the magazine and has to cut it out, it's got to be something that you can attach it to the character, and like why you'd hold on to her for so long.
Yeah. I think I read somewhere that she just likes to spend a lot of time with her family. She doesn't act a whole lot.
That's what losers that can't act say.
Take that.
Yeah.
Natasha. Yeah. But yeah, she was throwing her eyes everywhere in this movie. Like, damn, these eyes are like They're like a gun being waved around.
The famous quote, she was eye fucking the shit out of him.
I mean, basically.
Yeah, she just threw him around. But like when he cuts it out of the magazine, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was a normal person, there's so many different ways to try to cut someone out. Like they have to have distinct features somewhere.
Perfectly cast. You have to make the character memorable physically in some way.
Yeah, because she's not going to be in it a whole lot of time. But also his driving force or some of it is her.
Yeah.
So you got to have something that you can rock for the audience member.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot to go into. Like there's the themes of the reality TV show, obviously. Like the idea of like just watching quote unquote real people for your entertainment, and like the idea of television culture. I love how this ends with this whole triumphant moment of like the whole world watching Truman step through the door, and he's going to be in the real world, and there's so much excitement around that. And then the security guys at the station are like, oh, what else is on? Yeah. Give me the remote. And then it just ends. Yeah. And it's like, it's very pertinent about how television culture just evokes that feeling of grandiosity out of you, while still our attention spans are so fucked and short-circuited that we just gravitate towards like, okay, what else is on? Like,
I don't know if it's attention spans, but it's more so of like, that's kind of the life of being reality. You have your spotlight in the moment, and then when it's gone, I'm like, no one's gonna hang on to it because we have to live our own realities.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, the people watching this show have their own lives.
The guy's taking wagers at the fucking bar.
Right, yeah.
He's got to pay out.
Man, the dude in the bathtub, he had to have been pruny by the time he got out. He was in there for like 3 fucking days. Yeah.
The whole time.
It's like, man, hold on. How shriveled are you down there, my guy? Are you actually clean? Do you need to take another shower bath?
So, yeah, they kept the water at least looking nice. It should have been dirty as shit.
It looked kind of milky. I don't know. Maybe he was doing some stuff in there that was a
little sus.
He was imagining the scenes where they turned the camera away from the bedroom. So, yeah, I don't know if I really have too much else. I mean, the technical elements. This thing kind of has like a feeling of like liminal space. It kind of evokes that idea of it, especially
towards fisheye views,
or like just like how the neighborhood is set up, very bright and idealistic and like a utopia. And then especially towards the end with the sky against the wall that he runs the boat into, and like the staircase leading to the door and everything, which is one of my favorite images in any movie.
It's very great.
It's very great, very striking, and it feels very liminal to me.
I agree. The couple things were some of the fun fisheye views where it's kind of, it almost turns it into a game of where's this camera at.
By the way, did you believe him when, because like I feel like there's got to be more than 5,000 cameras there, right? Like
I didn't. I could care less.
Because like they had a camera in his like tie or some shit. Like
it was. He had a camera in his ring. I know that they had cameras in like different. Here's the thing that they don't touch on, but you definitely get the sense of is that he gets into his routine. But I also think that they had his behaviors charted so well, and that he just wasn't. Because
like they could prepare for him to be in like whatever scenario he decides to be in.
He never goes to the bank that he saw the extras in, so it's like we don't have to have any cameras in there, and if he does happen to go in there, we have to be able to capture something.
Right, we need to predict where he's gonna go.
Because he said it's only when I'm unpredictable they don't know. Here, watch this, and he claps, and then Marlon's like, "Great, yeah, you startled the cashier, awesome,"
Yeah. And I like how it's explained pretty much what the scene of him driving in the radio fucks up.
Yeah.
And he's hearing the commands of like what's going on with the actions he's taking.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's telegraphed very well.
There's the two things that I really like, the nods. Well, one's a nod and one's just fun because the music that he's listening to it on 98.7, which would probably be in that area, like a well-renowned radio station that you're going to hear all the jams from. They only played classical music because of licensing fees. You know,
Yeah,
like did you ever notice that they were like,
yeah, they can't get away with playing Nirvana. They don't have the copyright.
Yeah, so like that was a fun one. I happened to catch that. I'm like, why is it always playing like some piano shit? And then he like does the radio thing. Like, this is on a main channel. It's not AM 1800 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then the other one too is a little sci-fi nod when he's running after the fire and the guys are in the hazmat suits, because the original script is supposed to be more science fiction. You know, dealing with reality, and that was a fun nod to like being captured by guys in spacesuits, you know, and a little bit of like, this is where it's turning, where he's finally realizing he's not on in the, you know, a world that he should be in.
Yeah, I like this is a small thing too. Before we kind of wrap up, I like the travel agent coming out, and clearly they were caught off guard by him going to the travel agency.
Yeah.
That like they had to quickly get makeup on the actress because she comes out and she's still got like the makeup cloth in her shirt and she has to take it out.
When I first saw that, I always saw, I didn't pick up on it until this time, was that I always thought she was eating lunch.
Right.
You know, like it kind of like it invoked that out of me, and I think that's why he just passes it off as like a whatever. I just want to get the fuck out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One and for me, the last one is a quote I always say that I love it. Like when I quotes here and there that pop up in everyday life, right? You know, when you're talking to someone and like you're just on one subject and they quickly flip to another subject. What are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
Who the hell are you talking to?
There's no one here. I do that all the time when I'm sitting there and obviously someone's like, all right, Max talked about football for too long. Let's talk about the weather. I just go like, what the hell are you talking about? You know, I love that quote.
Such a great delivery from Jim Carrey. Was there anything else you wanted to discuss with the Truman Show? I think we're kind of gearing towards the end.
No, I'm good. There's a lot of fodder in here, and we could go on, but no, I feel good about it.
Should I give my rating first? I can.
Yeah. That's how we do it. If I read it, you go first, and I go second, right?
I don't know if there's really any tight through line. I kind of like to play a little loosey goosey every now and again, but you know, I'll go first.
All right,
I'll take the initiative. So I had this at a 9 for a long time, and this viewing really solidified just how much I enjoy this movie, how much I connect with it. I think it manages to balance the comedy and the drama very well. It keeps it interesting and fresh, and I think it's perfectly paced. I love the music choices, all the technical stuff, and there's a lot to chew on with this movie in the short time they present it. So this is a 10 out of 10 for me.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is a PMC, so normally PMCs generally have high ratings. We're not just throwing any piece of shit on that channel.
Yeah, you should have your own streaming service.
Yeah, well, we got to get a lot of license or copyright, whatever it is.
Yeah, you got to get distribution rights, and you got to establish yourself as like an online business. There's a whole rigmarole.
Let me get the loan first, and then we'll hop into there.
Am I partial to this loan? Like, am I a party to at least
cosigner?
20% is what I'm kind of coming up with.
Put the house on for collateral.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? It's just a little old thing.
Yeah, this is a really, really great, and it goes with you. It grows with you, and there's more and more to, especially when you get older, kind of rewatching this. I think this is a movie you could rewatch every 5 years and get something new out of it. Like we said, I don't want to spend too much time on it. The acting's great. It's a very simple story that is well executed, and there's so much that you can take away from it. So, this is a 10 out of 10.
Hell yeah, brother. Certified classic.
Yeah, certified neon.
Neon.
We got to think of something. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll think of something. Speaking of thinking, Jim Carrey does a lot of thinking.
Yes, he does.
To come to the conclusion that he does, which I'm not even entirely sure it's the right conclusion, or if there's a conclusion, or like what the fuck's going on.
Yep.
All I know is that there's a number involved, and that number is 23.
Boom.
The number 23 is a movie that I picked for us to check out.
Yeah, one I hadn't seen.
Me neither, but it intrigued me. I think I watched a trailer for it at Gideon's house one time. I think he put the trailer on, and we were kind of laughing at how fucking dumb it looks. So
silly.
It's a little goofy. A little goofy movie, but not the kind of goofy. More like the, oh boy, what is this fucking shit kind of goofy. So this is a movie directed by Joel Schumacher. It is his 23rd feature film. So take that how you will. Written by Fernley Phillips, and it stars Jim Carrey playing Walter Sparrow, who is a man who has a wife, has a teenage son played by Logan Lerman, and the wife comes across a book one day called The Number 23, written by Wascally Wabbits, written by Top Secrets. What a great name that is.
Yeah.
And he becomes consumed by this book and starts to see the number invade his life in almost every aspect. He starts to try to find this answer to this conspiracy and how it all ties in, and like elements of like what he's reading line up with his current life in the real world, blah, blah, blah. And that's pretty much it. He's also a animal control officer for some reason. I don't know. That's something worth mentioning before we get into the nitty gritty.
Fits into the plot
Somehow. Spoiler alert for the number 23.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, shit, brother. Where do I begin?
Man, great question. How'd this make you feel?
Do we start at the number 1?
Man, this is...
Should we try to come up with 23 reasons why this movie isn't stupid? Because I don't know if I can make it that high.
Can't you do like something where it's halved or something like that, or we just got to get a 2 and a 3 to make 23?
I have 2 reasons, you have 3 reasons, so then we put them together, and then there's 23 reasons, right?
Yeah, exactly.
According to the logic of this movie,
we get the number 23 out of it, even though it's just 2 and 3. But
so this movie starts with a narration from Jim Carrey as he's going on about the day that he came across the book and what led up to it, and him going to this Christmas party without his wife, and like him being basically sexually assaulted by this drunken woman.
Did you think that this was going to turn into him cheating on his wife right off the get?
No.
Okay, because
the way they set it up was very non-serious.
Yeah, yes. I guess it was just because of the dialogue. This thing has a lot of confusing dialogue.
It's very weirdly written. So I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to pull up the IMDb quotes page, because there's a lot of quotes in here that just make me scratch my fucking nuts. Just
to defend myself, he goes, if I hadn't gone to that damn party, if I had been just 5 minutes sooner, if I hadn't done this, like if this hadn't happened, then none of this would have occurred, right? And she like thrusts him up against the door and like grabs his butt or something like that, or call me a bitch or something like that.
Are you married tonight?
Yeah. And I was like, is this like, does it turn into a affair right away? Is the wife gonna leave him? Like there was a lot of like, where are we going?
Yeah.
And it kind of starts off a little tongue in cheek, but even what he does is not very funny. He does the whole like dialogue thing, and then he goes bark, 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 or meow, and the lady's looking at her, and the dog starts barking at him, and he goes meow. He goes, what? I'm just having fun. As the lady like scowls and runs away with the dog. I'm like,
a lot of fucking weird behavior in this movie.
Yeah. Like shit.
No one acts like a human being.
No, not at all. And you're leading, and he's an animal control guy. So you're already like, no offense to our animal control guys out there, but like, how'd you get into this role? Are you making good money? Which the house definitely doesn't feel that way. Also, the wife, I'm sorry, the way that this dude's acting, way too good looking for her to stick around. Like, it just weird ass shit.
I pulled up the quote. I got it right here from Sybil. Oh, come on. why don't you wag your tail at me in the bitches' room?
Yeah.
And then he says, Sybil, I wouldn't wag my tail in the bathroom with you if you were the last bitch on earth. Who talks like this?
The sign behind him said men's room, and then it said like little bitches room, and it had an arrow. Like they
to the women's room. It's very funny, very cheeky.
Well, he says it, and then the camera, they do the shot with him pinned up against the wall, and he kind of does like that, where he goes like, "Hey, it's right there," like just so you guys don't think I'm sexist, it's right here. I'm just playing off what's been written around me.
I'm not calling it the bitches room because I'm an asshole. I'm calling it because it's called the bitches room.
Yeah, like
trust me, guys. Wink, wink.
So weird. There's a lot of like misogynistic jokes in here.
A lot of misogynistic just shit in general. With like,
wasn't Joel Schumacher gay, or didn't he have a problem with like society?
He was gay.
Yeah. I know Batman and Robin, he had a lot of
like homoerotic
themes in there,
and imagery.
Like kind of like jaded. This movie felt like a person jaded by some things that had happened.
This movie feels like it was made by a gay man who doesn't understand what straight relationships are, that was obsessed with Evanescence.
Yeah.
Because this movie, I mean, as scattered as our discussion is, these are all important things to touch on, right?
I'm sorry, the movie's scattered and we're just fitting the bill with it.
Yeah,
you could see how we talked about Truman Show.
This discussion will be in line with the themes of the movie in that it is messy. You're gonna have to piece it together and come to your own conclusions, I guess. Even though like the movie kind of spells everything out for you at the end.
Yeah, we'll get there. Let's because that was a whole nother thing.
Yeah, it's a movie where the subtlety of it just is non-existent. So yeah, you've got this thing which is edited like an Evanescence music video, especially with the, I guess like they're technically flashback scenes, right? Because
no, they're
or like they're
created memory scenes.
They're created memories, but like they're reflections of like his past experience. Because like you find out later that he.
Are you talking about like with Fabricia, or like when they actually do the flashbacks?
I guess
there's two different versions of it. One
when he's like the detective character.
Yeah, it's a little bit. It's
when
like,
he's Fingerling, which is a fucking dumbass name for.
Oh, you don't like that?
It's
all right.
It could have been workshopped a little bit. If I would have liked to have been a book critic for when this guy wrote his weird manifesto
at the zoo. Yeah, Fingerly. That's even sexual right there. Whatever distorted reality or alternate reality.
Yeah. The pages from the book coming to life, basically.
Yep.
Like this whole thing is shot in an overexposed, really like kind of early 2000s music video way.
God, yeah.
And it makes the movie so dated.
It's
super dated.
It's just bizarre watching. Like we were kind of talking about it. The cinematography, even when he's outside of it, isn't all that great.
No, it's really jarring. And you don't understand like the type of tone that this movie is really striving to be, because it's trying to encompass
100% true.
Because like the entire time, what the fuck is it? Walter Sparrow. I should remember his name because it's a stupid name. You can call him
Fingerly too.
Fingerling, yeah. Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
I'll just say Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
The entire time, Jim Carrey, at the beginning especially, is like this kind of weirdo asshole. Like he's not really that likable of a dude.
He's not like an asshole. He's just kind of weird. Like they paint him to be a loser.
They paint him to be like a weird loser who has this haircut like he's in an emo band, except he's like way too old to have this haircut. Even in like 2007.
What it was?
What?
They were like, hey, no one above the age of 24 is going to see this. Let's just get everyone from 12 to 19,
right,
that are going to be able to sympathize with just being alone in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people who listen to like, I don't know, Breaking Benjamin and Nothing But the entire time. Like, we're just going to appeal to that crowd. But it's going to be Jim Carrey, so it's going to look goofy as shit.
Yeah, no friends, kind of weird jokes. None of it's going to land with anyone, just totally isolated.
Right, and he's going to have this job that's really kind of odd for him to have, but then it, for some reason, has to tie into the story later. Like,
it's the only reason why it was that thing.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I don't. It's just
even when and we said spoilers, right?
Yes.
even when the things kind of come out, you're like, boy, that's a stretch.
I kind of wish this was a movie that I had given a little bit more time in between recording the episode and watching it because...
No, you don't.
Well, like...
I watched it Sunday, and I haven't thought about it since.
I watched it yesterday morning.
Okay.
And I still feel like it's one of those where, like, I'm still processing everything that I experienced with it, in that I'm trying to tell, like, whether or not this movie is executed how Joel Schumacher wanted it to be made, or if it just completely just misses the ball and it's just a complete L altogether. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I've watched a movie that has made me feel this scattered about talking about it, because I don't know where to begin. I don't know what direction to take this conversation.
I think the problem with it is there's some good things in here. There's some missed marks.
There's some interesting things going on.
And that's why when we get these movies, because I know we've had some movies before, like Attack the Block. Remember that? Where that one, it's like the same kind of, they had a lot of good things going. They had some questionable things and things that we just didn't like. This to me is a movie that was definitely made towards a certain demographic. It was going to capture a certain market. And I think Jim Carrey, they ponied out the money to get him into it. Mm-hmm. He doesn't feel passionate at all in this thing.
No, he's kind of sleepwalking through this movie. He's giving a performance that feels like you kind of sedated Jim Carrey, and then he woke up and you told him to do a scene.
Like, they're like, and, you know, hey, you're going to play dark, gritty detective Jim Carrey. Like, even that, like, when he was in that role was cartoony.
The reason why his role in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind works so well is because Jim Carrey genuinely had like a sadness about him during that time. Like, he was kind of depressed when he was filming that movie. Mm-hmm. And it worked for the movie's benefit because you fully believe it. He's just a guy who's like wading through and doesn't really care about like what's going on, but you can still tell there's like a humanity to him. Mm-hmm. Whereas this movie, it's like they're almost trying to replicate that same feeling, except it's more so like it doesn't feel believable because you don't believe that Jim Carrey is this unhappy or like this paranoid or this manic about the things going on.
A lot of the reward in this thing never felt deserved. This thing would have done so much better if we had a little bit more exposition and intrigue in the beginning, as opposed to him getting all of a sudden, after 2 days of reading the book, going crazy. Like, he literally just started going crazy. And then you're like...
Yeah, because it starts like February 2nd, and then like by the end of the movie, it's February 5th.
Yeah.
And it's like all this shit happened in like 3 days.
Yeah, and like it's kind of... If you go down like, all right, insanity and the mind of a person that maybe like have some... like, you could kind of see it being quick. Like, all of a sudden, all these associations start fluttering back, and you kind of... But the other problem I had, too, was, like, even before he did the act of what he does, he wasn't crazy then. Mm-hmm. Like, he just kind of had a moment where he went crazy. So, a lot of the reward and a lot of the believability of what's happening is just thrust on us, and there's, like, you don't have time to catch up or really believe that he's, like, becoming insane.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the shit, that's why it seems so cartoony, is because, like, hey, we're going to take you, but instead of losing your mind over the period of a month, you're going to do it in 72 hours.
It really felt like they took this guy who we're supposed to believe is, like, I don't know, just, like, kind of like your average dude who's, like, got a weird sense of humor, and then we're supposed to believe that he has just gone full Looney Tunes crazy.
Yeah.
In the span of 2 days.
By reading a book. By just reading a book.
Right.
Like,
and it's like, where's the tension there? Where's the buildup? Where's like this slow burn that we're supposed to feel? Because we've talked about it before we recorded, but there's like a potential for this kind of premise to thrive in a movie that is made with better hands and better casting. Like, I feel like if someone like David Fincher were to make a movie like this, where it's just steeped in that mysterious conspiracy element, and a character has to like scrape by the skin of their teeth to like find these clues and to like piece things together, and like they really have to like think outside the box to put it all together
while questioning reality.
while questioning reality, while questioning their own sanity, and like everybody around them is questioning like what's going on with you. You're paranoid. You're going nuts. Like, are you okay? Like, you don't seem yourself. David Fincher is someone who could pull that off.
Yeah.
And he has pulled that off in movies that we've talked about. Gone Girl being a good example.
Yeah.
But Joel Schumacher does not seem like the right fit to make something like this, especially with Jim Carrey as this character.
No. I think they missed the boat on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's why we get a lot of the bright lights and the sets that are just really funky. I mean, it's kind of like if you're gonna take Burton and thrust him into making something that isn't cartoony, silly, and like, hey, you're gonna make a serious film, but we need you to take it seriously. Like, I just don't think he could do it. And if he did, it'd be kind of the same vein, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Very steeped in the time. There's some lines in here that I kind of just want to read because the writing of this is what stands out to me the most as being like one of the weaker parts of this movie.
Oh my God. Jeez.
I could have died there on the street, but that wouldn't have been justice. At least not the justice fathers teach their sons.
Don't know why he did that.
Yeah, because like, what do you think of that ending where
dumb as shit?
He's like stepping in front of the bus, and you think like, oh, he's gonna kill himself, and then nope, he goes yoink. And then the ending where they let the guy out because they find out he's innocent, and then it cuts to him in jail, and he's like, oh yeah, my lawyer told me that I'm gonna get a light sentence because I confessed. I don't think that's how it fucking works, brother. I don't think that's how crime works.
This thing went from like losing his mind into murder mystery, into I know what I've done, into justice. Like,
yeah,
it from when the movie kind of gets into him going crazy, there's no fucking way you get that ending out of it. Like, in your head, if you're painting the picture of like, how does he discover all this or what's going to happen? In no fucking light is it, oh, he's going to turn himself in. He's going to do the right thing.
The only natural ending that I could see as a result of everything that came before it in this movie would be he either dies because he kills himself, or someone else kills him because he's acting nuts, or he gets locked up in a mental hospital.
Or option 3, they bury the book and they all hide the secret together, and they understand that he's become a better person. Like, it drove me nuts that they're like, you've gotten a second chance. You've been the person that you are. You haven't had these issues, and obviously what you did was wrong. Right? But you're not that guy anymore. It's like, okay, so he has gotten a second chance. We've kind of understood that with second chances, you can reform. Nope. Sorry, you're going back. Your reform was that you're going to come up and admit to what you did.
Right.
Like, they don't paint him in a light of a guy that understands guilt or shame real well either. So it's not like I feel like that's going to weigh on him the rest of his life, nor he didn't even fucking remember what he did.
Yeah.
So like, how do you have all those emotions flood back?
The amount of red herrings in this movie didn't feel like they added any sort of layer or nuance to anything going on. It didn't feel like there was anything extra being offered with those red herrings. It just kind of felt like annoying little additions that were kind of thrown in to feel like the movie was more complicated than it was. So like the idea of like, who the fuck is his like nerdy friend that like is with his wife the whole time?
Oh,
like that guy.
Yeah. He's
like a professor or something.
Yes.
Like the idea of like, oh, maybe he's the one that like is responsible for it, or like maybe it's his wife, like giving all these like weird hints or clues or whatever. Like, but then none of that amounts to anything, especially when you find out that it was him the whole time and that he just wrote the book and just forgot about it after he tried to kill himself.
The whole amnesia plot line, you gotta love it.
Oh yeah, it's like, oh, he just doesn't remember.
We don't know how to end this fucking thing, so let's just throw him off a balcony, and he kind of becomes a new person.
Yeah, it felt like they wrote themselves into a corner, and then we're like,
shit.
Fuck. How did the fuck do it? Well, I guess we tie it in with the dog here, and then we.
I got it.
Yeah.
Amnesia.
He
just forgets all of it, and that's why he's back to it. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's have him kill himself on his 23rd birthday, but it doesn't go through, so it still plays into the plot. Joel, you're a genius.
Woo! That's the crew and the staff,
dude,
in the making of the movie.
Could you any motives that he has throughout this thing be justified with where he's at? Like, that's what I'm saying with the exposition. There's nothing. Literally, the only inference, and we both took away different things, because I'm looking at him, I'm like, animal control, no friends, nerd, like, not funny, you know?
Yeah.
Where are we going with this with him? Why? If anything that he does doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. Like, couldn't they have given him something?
Well, that's all his character is basically like just to try and figure out this whole mystery, right? Like, there's nothing else to him other than like trying to solve the mystery and like his past trauma and like all this stuff.
How is that supposed to fill a vessel?
It's not.
You know what I'm
Spoiler alert, it doesn't.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it hollowed out and money grab.
Yeah. What do we think of, because like obviously there's the scenes with Walter Sparrow, but then there's also the scenes with Fingerling, where like he's a cool detective. And he's got his awesome tattoos. And he's playing his saxophone for some fucking reason, and he's talking to this girl whose name is like Lady Suicide or something, and she like lives in an Evanescence hotel. She wears pink and I'm starting to think you didn't like that part. Oh.
all that shit, the flashbacks or whatever, the alternate universe killed me. I'm like, why are we going here? Red herring. Yeah. Right? How do we tie him in? I was actually hoping that he would turn into Fingerling and like leave his family to become this cool detective. Mm-hmm. Like, that's where I got to at one point. I was like, maybe he'll turn into that guy. Like, that's kind of like the we're gonna see like a split personality from him. You know, like it's centered on your mental health. Like, why don't you turn him into someone that has some mental health problem? No, that's too easy.
Did they give Fingerling eyeliner? Like, did they give him makeup?
Couldn't tell you with all the contrast shit going on.
Yeah, right. I mean, the lighting doesn't do it any favors either way, but
dude,
it felt like they gave him eyeliner to make him more cool and mysterious and twisted.
He had the slicked back hair tattoos and shit. Like, it was so dumb.
Here's the thing that it boils down to, right? And this is something that I saw in a lot of the reviews that I skimmed through. You can't make Jim Carrey sexy. Like, you don't believe him as like this sex pot who's going through and like seducing these women and like, oh man, he's just a heartthrob. He's a hard bad boy that you gotta fall for. You know,
silver tongue. You know, that's where Carrey gets women, not with.
I mean, I get, but like, it's just an inherent problem when you cast Jim Carrey, especially when you give him this haircut and like this goofy of a wardrobe. It's like, I cannot take him seriously. It feels like he's playing a parody of The Crow or some shit.
Dude, it was, yeah. I wanted to go see Blondie. I wanted to go see what she had. And then like he's like trying to mix in like
she said she had
noir.
Something to give me.
Yeah,
I got something to give you. Like,
yeah,
that happened a few times.
His voice was really the whole thing was cartoony.
They call me Fingerling.
Yeah, like it was like I don't know where he was pulling his source material from to get that going, but like he kind of felt like Ace Ventura, you know, if like he got hit over the head and became like a serious pet detective.
Yeah, it felt like Jim Carrey doing a skit is what it felt like.
Yes, like, which was very distracting.
Yeah.
Like, that's where, and I'm with you, like, they're trying to, like, we're going to have you in these sex scenes, and you're going to have this tattoo, and you're going to smoke cigarettes and drink whiskey, and, like...
It's like a 13-year-old's idea of what an adult movie is, it feels like, you know?
Oh, yeah, like, if I was 11 and saw a trailer for this and saw him walking through with some, like, you know, kick-ass, like, dark, weird metal music going on... Mm-hmm. I'd be like, this is way too old for me.
It's like, what makes a movie cool? You got leather jacket. You got this badass haircut. You got eyeliner. You got women that he fucks constantly. Yeah. Knives.
With foreign names.
And apartments that have no furniture except a bed and like a closet with shoes in it.
He's super dark and gritty, and he knows what he's after.
Saxophones as he stares out the window.
I mean, I listen, I am partial to a good saxophone, so I wasn't too hung up on that.
Did he play it?
Nope.
I don't think he played it once the entire movie. I was waiting for him to like put his lips around it and start blowing. But that didn't happen.
Unfortunately.
This movie was PG-13. There was no blowing at all.
The funny thing is the professor goes, wow, a main character that has a saxophone, you don't see all that too often. And like as soon as he said it, I was like, when did he have a saxophone? Like I hadn't seen it up to that point.
He holds it like 3 times, maybe twice. I don't know. And I feel like 2 of those times were him as Fingerling. And then like the last time you see it is a flashback of him in the hotel room being bonkers.
That's what I'm saying. But I think they said it. I don't think they had introduced the saxophone until after he made the comment. And then they started showing it. I'm serious.
I don't remember. I don't care enough to remember the saxophone details.
I was really like, oh, okay. Like, sure, it's a minute thing about whoever this is because it's going to be Jim Carrey. You know, I was like, whatever. And then they started throwing the saxophone, and I was like, when did this just happen? Why is this? You want to know what they were probably going after? Tim Capello. You're
going to have to catch me up to speed.
We can talk a little bit more about the problems with this movie as I show you a picture of this, because you're going to be like, oh, Joel Schumacher, I think, must have had a crush on him or something when he was younger.
Does he look like Jim Carrey does in this movie? Like with the hair and the wife beater and like the cool tattoos?
There's a point where Jim Carrey was playing the saxophone up against the window with like the rain going.
Interesting.
Shirtless.
This guy, send me that picture. I'll include it in the video.
Yeah.
But that looks more like Conan the Barbarian than it does.
Let me see. So he's in a movie that. Oh, you want the wife beater on?
Yeah.
Like that one?
Yeah. I think he had that, like, those same pants too or something.
Dude, I'm telling you, like I'm just not thinking about he probably pulled him and was like, you're going to be Tim.
I don't understand. This is like the opposite of what you should do with a Chekhov's gun. It's like if you have a saxophone in your movie, you should play it, right? Like,
yes,
we should be able to hear the fucking thing, but I don't think we do.
No, he never, not once. Even when he pulled it out in his like gym locker thing when he was like going crazy, he's like, oh, getting all the memories coming back. And I'm like, why do I have all this stuff? Like he holds it up and I'm like, oh, this is it. He's gonna do like a little, nothing, no fucking reward. Yeah. Imagine him playing that with like the rain coming down and like you got the bright contrast going on and this like really bluesy saxophone going on to playing out his emotions.
Yeah, if you're gonna like be cheesy as fuck with like the noirish elements of this movie, lean into it. Like
you
have him play the saxophone.
That's why when we were talking, we're like, we don't know the tone. Like I'm pretty sure he took this thing seriously. Because it wasn't like, hey, like let's kind of lean into some of the funniness or like some of the we know we're being super cheesy. He doesn't do any of it. It all feels like it's taken seriously.
Well, it makes the scenes where Jim Carrey is trying to be serious as Walter Sparrow to his wife and son. It makes those scenes feel especially jarring because the dramatic elements of those scenes just don't work because the scenes before of like the flashbacks and like the saxophone and everything, they feel like really goofy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't resonate because everything else is just so dour and serious and bleak. Like at least with the like stupid cheesy flashback scenes, there's like some weird kind of fun to it. Like you can kind of make fun of those scenes, but
you can kind of laugh at them, not with them,
right? But like at that point it's like you're asking yourself like, okay, is this intentional or is this not? And it feels like this movie is not intentional with the humor going on in this.
Yeah,
like all of it feels very misplaced. If I could describe this movie in one word, it's very misplaced.
Yeah, seriously, it truly is.
Yeah,
like I mean, I knew that I was like, all right, I've kind of invested a little bit into this because he gets to the end where he comes to the conclusion that his wife wrote the book. And he's doing all and they get the weird flashbacks because like it's only an hour 40 and people can't remember. That shit annoys me too, where it's like, you were the one that showed me the book. And then it goes back, it's like, hey, did you check out this book? Mm-hmm. It's like, motherfucker, we haven't been that long. There's not shit going on in here. How are we going to forget that?
Right.
But like, he's holding up the knife and I'm like, oh, dude, he might kill her. You know, because you still don't. You're still kind of
second time in the movie where Jim Carrey held a knife to his wife.
Yeah, what was the
Truman Show?
Oh wow! Well, it wasn't a knife. You see, that's what I'm saying.
Well, and like she's the one holding it, I guess. And
he's got an instrument that he uses for ill intent.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perfectly said, Mac. Thank you, Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah. I you know, and that's where I'm like, there are some good parts, and there's some of the like the mystery of what's going on, but everything's just rushed, and like you take out the Fabricius shit and all the like, we're gonna be kind of like emo. I guess, was that cool?
You know, for the people who shopped at Hot Topic, yeah.
Fucking.
So like circling back to what you just said, there are elements of this that I like. I see the work that they put into it.
Yes.
Like the work with the incorporating the 23 and like doing a bit of the script work to make sure like it connects and to make sure like, oh, there is like a mystery to be solved that is just inherently interesting.
Yep.
And like this feels like one of those movies where on script it probably is really impressive, and it might be one of the best scripts you've read. I think one of the producers said as much.
I could see that, because this thing has like we've talked. It's got elements of being like, oh yeah, all right. Well, where's he gonna go next?
Like there's something to it, right?
Yes.
Like there's something going on with like the mystery of 23 and like the idea of like the 23 fallacy, and just like how it all connects, how it invades his life, how there's something to be said about it being a mystery that you just unfold. I mean, you know, that's in itself is inherently interesting, whether or not the movie is good or bad.
Like, let's do some commentary. Instead of doing over 3 days, have it over the course of. You don't even need to expand on time, really. Mm-hmm. Like in this thing, like if they could have taken out that fucking date system, I could care less, right? Let's go with like a little dip into 23. And then a little bit more on the, like, we're starting to see some social messages, or we're starting to see some hidden messages or things that he's just picking up on. And then let's kind of progress him. By the time that he's starting to capture all this stuff, he is now fucking full tilted on this thing.
Yeah.
It's day 2 and he's like going into it. And then day 3, he's just invoked in 23.
Yeah.
And as an audience, it's just way too fast and like unbelievable. Mm-hmm. And that's the worst thing about this is like, especially when you're having like a movie where you want the audience members to question reality, the last thing you want to do is rush reality, because the whole time we're not ever soaked out of it. Mm-hmm. You know, and this thing would have been so much better had they taken their time.
He's already at the point of mania in 3 days that top secrets, haha, is that when you see him at the post office. Yeah. It's like, oh shit, this dude has also caught the 23 bug and is going insano style. Mm-hmm. But their level of mania is nearly the same.
Yes.
When they see each other, even though Carrie's only been dealing with it for 3 days and this guy's been dealing with it for like, I don't know, 10, 15 years or however long, you know, enough time for like Logan Lerman to be like 14 or 15 in this movie or whatever, at the very least.
Yeah.
Because he meets her like right after,
walks out and runs into her.
Yeah.
And it's love at first sight.
And so like if you think like, oh, like
speaking of, what the fuck is she doing? Doesn't she know that's a mental ward?
She's just delivering cakes, bro.
And what did he come up with? Like, I didn't just come out of here after 3 years.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, hey, I was crazy, but I'm all better now. Want to go out on a date?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. You just plunked my cake.
There's I feel like, you know, this conversation is not at all pointed in any specific direction. It is very much
like the film.
Yeah, reminiscent of like the movie itself. But to kind of wrap up, because I think we're kind of getting towards that end.
Yeah.
I will recommend a book, and I actually have it on the dresser over there.
Oh, okay.
I think you might be able to see it from here. It's kind of a thick book.
I've been peeking over there because I have another thick book that I purchased that I've read 2 pages of.
You'll get through it. Don't worry. The book I'm talking about is called House of Leaves, and it's one of my favorite books that I've read.
Oh, you read? Yeah, that was at Sam's Club. You told me about it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. This is a book that is sort of the same spirit as the script of this film, in that there's a mystery to unsolve. there's multiple different layers for you to dive into. And because it's a book, you get the freedom to kind of go at it your own pace, and you can kind of solve it for yourself and like go through the book. And it's very unconventionally written in that like it's layers upon layers of story, sort of like a Russian nesting doll sort of thing, where like you kind of dive deeper into it. But the format of the book itself is also interesting because like you'll get pages where like there's only one word on it, or like the format of the words is like in a box and you have to turn the book and like you have to go to certain pages to like get the full picture of everything going on. And that book feels like the closest thing that this movie is sort of attempting to grasp at tonally. Like trying to get your attention and trying to get you to dive deeper into it outside of the movie itself, and to figure out like what is going on your own time. Like that book feels like what this movie should be, and I can't recommend the book enough because I love it and I think that it's great. But if you want that feeling that you're not getting from the number 23, check out House of Leaves. I fully recommend it.
Good plug.
Neon Crew Book Club.
Hell yeah. Off the screen and into your hearts.
Onto the page.
Love it.
Merchandising bookmarks coming soon. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about with this movie? I feel like I kind of just want to get it out of my skin. Oh man.
Honestly, not really. No. I can't. I could sit here and comment on it and complain about it, and the good in here, I think, and I was telling this to Jasmine too, kind of my closing remarks on the whole thing, is like I feel like mysteries, even the bad ones, still have something there.
Right.
So
like we were touching on,
Well, I just don't know if this is like, all right, this is just really bad, or if I'm going off of like the good's there because there's some element of the mystery in there. And I don't know if that still qualifies it to make it redeemable or not.
Sure. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Do we want to go into ratings?
Sure. I don't know. I think after talking about it, actually, I'm going down a rating. I didn't realize how much more angry I was at this thing than I let on to. This is going to be a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
It's, and some people probably question my ratings on stuff because I don't necessarily go with like a strict 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 out of 10 is a recommended light film that you could probably throw on if you're doing the dishes and not have to worry about keeping up with everything that's happening.
Sure.
And that's what I felt about this thing. There are redeemable moments in it, but I don't think there's anything to deal with the film that I was like, that was impressive. Carrie is like blah. And essentially the only thing, if you were to strip everything off of it, is just the bare bones idea about what they could do with it. And I think it's been done in other films. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. This is a 4 out of 10 for me.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where I would not call this a good movie by any means.
He's calling it a good movie, everyone.
Yeah, you just take the audio of me saying good movie.
Yeah.
And that's all I say. But this is a film that is, because of the script, inherently interesting with the mystery and how it handles it. And there's something to be said about just the idea of it and how it's executed, kind of pulling you in a little bit. But then you're hit with Jim Carrey portraying this guy, and it just doesn't feel quite right. The writing of it is pretty bad in terms of dialogue. And the overall tone just feels very muddled and inconsistent. It's a very misplaced film, if I were to bring that word back one more time.
You know what this is like? You ever go anywhere where you're kind of like, man, what's behind that door? And you get kind of closer, and then you hear something, you're like, not for me. Then you're walking away, and then you hear something else, you're like, well, maybe I will check it out. It always gets you kind of close to seeing, diving into it without ever actually getting you to dive into it. Like, this thing is just kind of like you look, you take a couple steps, and you walk further away from it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, yeah.
If I were to come across the number 23 book that Jim Carrey's wife comes across in this movie, I would pick it up, skim the pages, and then put it back on the shelf. And that's what watching this movie feels like.
It's a great analogy.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, good place to wrap up. Oh, shit. Are we getting another phone call?
Whoa!
These keep happening.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they're always your brother, but maybe it'll be someone different this time.
The Neon Crew hotline.
Yeah.
He's the only one with the number. It's like Jim Gordon with the bat signal.
Yeah, it's like the president with the Russian red phone or whatever. I don't know. I'll just pick it up. I'll just pick it up.
You go from a great analogy to then just that one.
Yeah, well,
that's a big pendulum swing.
Yeah, it's impressive, right?
President with a Russian phone.
Yeah, people will know what I'm talking about. Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, this phone's been ringing for a while. I'm gonna pick it up.
Better grab it.
Yeah.
Night Call with Sam Parker.
I'm talking to you because I'm on a night call and got no fear. Yo, shout out Neon Mafia. Represent! So this week you guys are talking about the Truman Show and the number 23. Before I get into that, I wanted to do a quick history lesson because you guys were talking about last week of the censorship from movies back in the day. And so movies made between like the 30s and the mid to late 60s were under something called the production code or the Hays Code. So there was this guy that was the head of the Producers Guild or whatever. His name was William B. Hayes, and he invented this code that all movies had to adhere by. And that was like no nudity, no blood and guts, no profanity. And he could tell, much like when the internet first came about, the first thing everybody did was download, skin photos and type in boobs on Google Images. That's essentially what was happening with, or the direction that it would have happened with cinema. And there's a good scene in The Aviator where Howard Hughes is like at court, like defending his movie The Outlaw and going through Jane Mansfield's boobs or somebody like that. Anyways, so they put that into effect, and then by the mid 60s they started easing up on it. And part of it was TV was now competing with viewing time with cinema, and even TV was getting away with, in some aspects, with more than movies. And if you look at the movies of that era, it's a lot of westerns, a lot of musicals, and a lot of period pieces. People were going to the theater for the spectacle, the production design, the costumes, the pageantry. It wasn't a great time for storytelling. It was a great time for moving pieces. I want to say like Around the World in 80 Days had something like 15,000 extras. Like you're talking about, that's why you'd go to the movie. And eventually in the mid 60s, TV starts dominating and commanding eyeballs. Also, the production code could not affect movies that were made out of the country. So you have the French New Wave, French Expressionism. You get the spaghetti westerns, a few dollars more that are showing, blood and guts. And then 1967 happens, and Bonnie and Clyde comes out. The Graduate, In the Heat of the Night, In Cold Blood, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Like, it was a monumental year for really breaking and cracking the Hays Code. And Hayes also at that time, I don't even know if he was alive, certainly, definitely out of the picture. And they just said, okay, we're going to go to a rating system in 1968. So that's what we have today. And not much has really changed on that front since then. So when you guys were talking about 1971, it was a really big year because it was pretty much the first official year that studios handed the keys over to the car to all these young, hungry, passionate, young, really creative directors, and cinema took a change for the better. And so Sam Peckinpah was one of those dudes that had to live in the parameters of the Hays Code for so long, and then when they unleashed it, you know, he's like, and unloaded the tank. So there you go. Talk about your movies today. Truman Show, one of my all-time favorites, top 25, just an exceptional film. I think it's brilliant that the whole movie really takes place in like 4 or 5 days, this de-raveling, and it starts with Truman. It's the first time he's questioned the reality around him, or had proof, I should say. I think he's always questioned it, but he's never had proof or concrete proof. And the beginning of that film with the light dropping, something as simple as that he now has proof to question his reality. It's also an indicator that the show has now become sloppy, that they've lost a step in everything that they've done. And it's almost like, what do you do when a show needs a revamp or, some juice put into it? Is you add another character. Hence, here comes a baby to carry on this legacy for Truman. And I just think it's brilliant the way they give you the full gambit, everything any question that you have about the show, they pretty much answer. They have like the propaganda info package, 2.1 billion worldwide. And then they have like, the flashback sequences. They have, you get to see the fans call in and the fan world. My only gripe with the movie is the ending is the two fat, cops. The security officers in the parking garage are like, all right, what else is on? And it's like, I wish they would have just ended it showing, Christoph fall on his monitor or Truman walking out of there. Pretty cool that, there is no villain in the movie. If there is, it's Christoph. And the only he has one moment where he's talking to Truman, and it's through a monitor, and Truman's talking to basically a wall. That's you really don't ever see that. So exceptional choice. Very, very, very excited to hear what you guys have to say on it. And I'm sorry that this is getting a little bit long for a night call, but I got something to say about the number 23. And I have been waiting 17 long years to have a platform for my vengeance. And justice is about to be served. In the year 2007, the trailers and the media packages for this movie came out, and for a 15-year-old, 16-year-old in high school with his group of friends that go to the theater every weekend, I'm pretty sure this was a February release, which is a dead spot in the year. We were pretty juiced to get something good in February, or it appeared to be good. And I'll never forget, one of the media packages, it's Jim Carrey talking, being interviewed, and he says, but it's absolutely undeniable. The Earth's axis sits at 23.5 degrees, and 2 + 3 = 5. Boom! My mind's exploded. I'm at fever pitch to see this movie. Couldn't go because of a powerlifting meet or whatever with my buddies. That's okay. I'm going to go the next weekend. And I have a good friend who felt compelled to spoil the movie. I'm not going to say his name. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to say his name. Eric Davis. Came back that next time I saw him and told me the ending of the film. Spoiled the entire film. The whole thing's about catching a killer. He goes, yeah, Jim Carrey's the killer. I don't even remember if Jim Carrey's the killer. I was so pissed. I'm like, dude, I've been waiting probably a good 2 months to see this movie. And he goes, yeah, I'm doing you a favor. I go, you're not doing me a favor. Let me watch the movie. Let me see that it sucks. Let me have that experience. And I went, I probably went 2 years without seeing it. Just like absolutely, completely angry that he did that. And I finally saw it, and I'm like, you know what? He is right. It does suck. But come on, man. What's wrong with you? Why are you doing that? So this is what I want you to do, Neon Mafia. And you do this with people that spoil movies like that, where they come right out and tell you the ending, where the ending is entirely critical. Like the ending of Usual Suspects. Don't reveal it. The whole thing's revolving around the last 5 minutes. You want to ruin the ending of The Godfather? Do it! It's 3 hours, and it doesn't make any sense if I told somebody that. If I told somebody the ending of, let's say, and I'm going to do it right here. I'm gonna spoil a classic film for you. If I told you the ending of Casablanca is Humphrey Bogart looking at his buddy and saying, Louis, I'm beginning to think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. And they walk off together, you'd be like, yeah, you have no idea what that means. I have no clue what that even is referencing or what it could adhere to. Like, it doesn't matter, almost, right? So who cares? Like, those are great ones to talk about. And I think the best movies are the ones that you could say, and are unspoilable, essentially. But he did that. So grab your pitchforks, get your torches, go to this guy's house, and remember to seek out vengeance for your boy. You don't spoil movies that are completely hinged on the ending. So movies that you should never spoil or even talk about. Sixth Sense, Usual Suspects, Fight Club. Is the number 23 in that category? You bet your ass it is! What's wrong with you? Sorry for the long message. Didn't mean to get this heated. But what the heck, man? Alright, see you guys later, bye.
All right. Speaking of numbers, you have a score to settle with this game that I like to play with you called Reviewing Reviews.
It's going to be even harder with this because I don't know how anyone negatively rates Truman.
So I got a myriad of reviews from either movie that we've discussed on this episode, and the name of the game is Reviewing Reviews, where Mac has to try to guess what movie these reviews are talking about. So, our first one. This movie is mind-boggling, but even better are the subtleties and areas that are left to interpretation. This is what true originality looks like, and for me, this is up there with the likes of Inception as a fantastic idea movie. Starting off strong, starting off hard.
I could see some pompous asshole giving like a good review to 23. And that's... God damn it. And Inception, they were both made before it. Who fucking what? Like, who revisited... I'm going Truman Show.
It is Truman Show.
Thank God.
You are right. So, 1 for 1. All right, let's keep it going. This was one of those movies where there is an idiotic twist that makes no sense. I don't necessarily blame Jim Carrey for this movie being so bad, but his performance doesn't help matters. The whole thing is pretty much ill-conceived and poorly executed across the board. Mac's getting in his head about this one.
I am. Well, it's like one of those things where you know what one you're talking about, but then you could see, I'm going with my heart. 23.
It is the number 23.
Thank God.
Dang. Hot streak? Question mark?
Well, I'm leaning with the reviews, and all of a sudden you're going to sweep the rug.
So this one's a short one, but this one's going to be tough.
Okay.
One of the cruelest and most horrific movies I've ever seen. That's all they wrote. That's all they wrote about this movie.
I don't trust people. God, but there's so much redemption in the Truman Show. But then if you go off reality TV and you're like an animal lover, I'm going Truman Show.
It is the Truman Show.
There we go.
Congratulations. 3 for 3.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there's too much of a shittiness about 23 to won't wash off on Truman.
So, after this film, I'm going to tell you, okay, this is me speaking right now. I'm going to tell you this right now, Mac. This review is not what I would say is very well written.
Okay.
So, just keep that in mind.
Okay.
So, after this film, some people going to be like, okay, ... This was a great film, but ... The other side of the audience that understand something from it, they gonna change their lives forever. Like I did 2 years ago. Basically watched it today with my brother. Damn randomly. He never watched it before, so we decided to watch it. Check the magic now, smiley face.
I don't know what that went.
It's even more nonsense than when I skimmed it. Holy shit.
Okay.
Sometimes I like throwing these ones in there just because.
Yeah, you just got to find the random review that makes no sense towards any of the films.
It really does you no favors at all.
He just told us that he watched it with his brother. Mm-hmm. That's all that the review is like I got to show him this film after 2 years.
Watched it with his brother. Some people will understand something from it. They're going to change their lives forever. Check the magic now. Smiley face.
I got to go. I'm going Truman Show.
It's the number 23.
Oh, God.
It's the number
Jesus
23.
Christ.
It is a 5-star review of the number 23 that I found on Letterboxd.
Holy shit.
I had to dig for this fucking thing. All right.
Yeah, it's the only one.
So what is that? 3 and 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shit.
So hey, you could still beat your record because I think your record is 4 and 6.
Yeah.
All right. You still got time. So when I was 12 and the trailers for this movie came out, I wanted to see this so bad but never did. So in essence, this is a childhood dream I've waited 13 years for. Was it worth the wait? 100% yes. Holy shit, masterpiece. 5 stars in my heart.
Okay. I have logic. I'm going with, and hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with 23 only because 12 and had to wait 13 years. 2-3.
It is the number 23.
Boom. I knew it. Dead giveaway.
That was impressive. Wow. So 4 and...
Yeah, this is 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5? Yeah, you could go 5 out of 6.
Fuck.
Last one. This is another shorty.
Okay.
It was nice, but now I'm paranoid that my entire life is a lie. So that's it. That's all they wrote.
All right, both of them had distorted. What?
I'll read it again. It was nice, but now I'm paranoid that my entire life is a lie. So they wrote so at the end of.
Yeah. Truman Show.
It is The Truman Show.
Boom.
Ding, 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 ding. New record.
Yes.
5 out of 6.
Yeah.
Good job, McClain.
Yeah, I think there's enough difference. If they were both good films, that would have been a lot harder.
Yes. Both good films starring Jim Carrey.
And I also have a hard time feeling that number 23, well, actually, there was the gentleman or female that it did impact quite a bit. They had to show family members.
Could you imagine how hard this would have been if we did go with Dark Crimes instead of Truman Show? To pair with it, like, would have been nearly impossible.
Well, not because one's.
I think they're both pretty poorly received.
Yes, but like the Dark Crime sounds like a detective like murder mystery where I don't know I don't know what to call it. It is
Are
a
you
mystery,
saying
but
Fingerling isn't our finest detective?
but like he was such a fucking schmaz of a character. Like I don't even really count him being
schmaz.
I don't know what that word is. Like that's how much I was so pissed off that they got thrust into that thing.
This movie's made you so mad you created a word.
Yeah, well, it was just dumb. Like, why did they? It wasn't cool of the time that it's outdated, and that guy wasn't even like, oh shit, like Fingerling's back on the fucking screen. Like it was like skip.
Have you seen Alien Covenant?
No, the Alien movies I get twisted. I don't. Is that the newest one?
Yeah.
I don't think
it's the newest one, but it came out in like 2017.
Right.
So
Prometheus,
like
I think, is the last one that I saw that was.
There's a line from it that it makes me think of Fingerling's name. And,
what?
I can't describe it exactly because it's a spoiler, but it's a character. It's a character helping another character with like a musical instrument, and then one of the characters goes, "You blow, I'll do the fingering," and it makes me think, "I'll blow, you do the fingerling," or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just a dumb little
switch
connection.
into Jim Carrey doing his like weird detective voice
while playing the saxophone that he never fucking plays in the movie ever.
No, it's a prop that he holds up and he looks in the sky and just like confused and unsure of himself.
What a weird movie. Whether you like it or not, you have to admit it's fucking out there.
Yeah, I'd like to see someone that could tell me it's grounded. I really would like to have someone come up and tell me that.
I feel like something like Interstellar is more grounded than this movie. This movie's way more out there than
people felt real in that one.
They felt human.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Thank you for playing the game.
Yes.
And thank you guys for listening. We have one more bit of business before we wrap up.
We do.
This might be a little bit of a shorter episode, but that's okay. Sometimes we need those in our life. It's still going to be like around 2 hours, but
who cares? We got it. We talked about enough. We could have went both those films. You could go on and on about.
I feel like I could have talked about Truman Show for like another 20 minutes.
Yeah, sometimes it gets redundant. How much you could either pat something on the back or scold it.
Right. It's like if we have nothing more to say, then why milk a dead cow or whatever?
Yeah.
You know?
As old Fingerling saying usually goes.
Exactly.
All right. So I've got, the question is there a new movie that we're going to see, or can we do...
So I was going to propose either Challengers or The Fall Guy.
Oh, God.
To pair up with whatever you recommend. Because those are both newer movies out in theaters, and they're going to be there for a while, I would say. Challengers I've heard great things about. The Fall Guy... I'm interested in just purely on a action movie level. Plus, I like Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. There seems to be a new wave of movies coming out where we're going to be very self-aware and we're going to make it. Yeah. I guess self-aware is the only thing that I can really think of. Like, we're going to poke fun at ourselves for what we're doing.
Sure.
But also make it kind of serious. Like, something is seriously going on.
Right. There's a tongue-in-cheek element to it, but it's felt pretty broad across the board for a lot of modern movies.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I don't know. I'm kind of Challengers, though. Well, shit.
I mean, we could go with something entirely different.
Well, I just don't. Challengers is the threesome with Zendaya.
Sounds pretty nice, but yeah.
We'll do two lady films.
Okay.
The movie that I'm going to recommend is Run, Lola, Run.
Hell yeah.
Have you seen it?
It's on my list.
Is it?
I've wanted to watch this movie.
Sweet.
I've heard of it. I think Gideon might have told me about it.
Really?
Either that or it was on his watch list. I don't know. But like, it is one of those movies where it's intrigued me to watch it for a while.
Good.
So Challengers and Run, Lola, Run?
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to say right now, because there is a chance to switch, but we don't have to. At some point, we have to do Ferrari and Ford v. Ferrari.
Yes. One of these days, we will.
Yeah.
Is Ferrari on... Like, is it available for streaming, or is it, like, rentable for not anything that's, like...
astronomical?
Over $20?
Maybe. I didn't get too far. I was looking at it today, and I wrote that on there because I had Ferrari on there, and I was like, it's Ford v Ferrari, right? Ford versus Ferrari is the other one. I was like, oh, that would be. But we'll save it for a rainy day.
Yeah, it's been pretty rainy today, but we did not save it for today.
I guess
Another
they
rainy
can't
day.
kind of see where we're at.
Yeah, you can't really. I'll include a picture. I'll include a nice rainy picture
Yeah,
and
just use the fingerling one when he's looking out the window.
I'll include a picture of fingerling with the fucking saxophone.
Yeah, I don't know if it's. I hope it's raining because that's all I was thinking when he had that damn saxophone.
If it's not raining in the picture, I'll put rain in.
that would be perfect.
And
That's
then
such
we'll
a
be set.
great Neon Crew picture.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
and Tim Capello.
Yeah. If you're on the YouTube version, check out this picture. It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's super fucking cool. All right. Challengers and Run Lola Run.
yeah.
Cool. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Neon Crew podcast. Be sure to check those movies out before episode 72. Check out our YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts where our podcast is available. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel already, be sure to do that. And if you could, give us some 5-star ratings on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to check out our social medias on YouTube Community and Facebook. Check out our merch page on Etsy. Shout out to Gideon for doing our music, and shout out to Lauren for doing our logo design. New artwork in the works.
Nice.
I've been talking with Megan. She's going to get started on that. She's done with her semester. I have to send her a detailed description of what I want it to be. But then after that, we can get the ball rolling. Not going to give a specific date, but it'll turn out cool because she makes some good shit.
Dope.
I'm a little biased because, I kiss her every now and again.
Yeah.
But, I'll just air it out right now. We like to be transparent on the Neon Crew podcast. And I
Are
like...
you saying you're getting bribed into artwork?
I'm saying that I
This is an entrapment.
I'm saying I've kissed a girl. And that proves I'm not a loser.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a Walter Sparrow.
No, I'm not. I don't know. Walter Sparrow's pretty cool, man. He's got that saxophone.
No. Well, he does, doesn't he?
He's got it. He doesn't play it,
Yeah,
but he's got it.
he does.
Yeah.
He looks at it and it trembles in his hands as all the memories come flooding back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He should have fucking played that thing and just been like, you can see that, like, it's still there.
Yeah.
No, we don't. It's just he holds it and he looks and he's like, oh, man.
He
And
pets it like a cat, I think, at one point or something. Like, I don't know.
The movie ended on a narration, and then they just thrust him in the jail. And he said, you know what? Not all endings have happy stories.
Yeah. And he, smiles and winks at the camera. And then it,
it's really
zooms
bizarre.
in, like, Looney Tunes style.
It's like, yeah, right.
Logan Learman says that's all, folks. Yeah. Then the movie ends.
And you're like, what do I take away from any of this?
Mm-hmm. I think I took away schizophrenia. Anyway, McClain, do we have anything we want to say before we call it a quit?
WWTHD.
Bye, everyone.
Ah!